What's up? What's up? What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another session of Coffee and Martial Arts. Salud, salud, salud. Cheers. Oh, yes. Good coffee today. Hold on a second. God, I love coffee, and it's so good today. And so is the weather. So, um, I think good coffee, it's a good thing right now. So go get your coffee, go get your hot tea or hot chocolate or whatever it is that you like, and come back because we're going to have a great show today. Sorry, I'm sharing on social media. You know me. So I just want to say thank you all for being here today. I hope you're having a great time. And today is that first Thursday of the month. I'm always very excited because we get our collaborator, Guro Kathrin Sumpter, all the way from Sequim, Washington, sharing her section, The Way Word. So today is that day. Yes, sir. And we're going to have a busy month. We're going to have a lot of guys being interviewed, and we have announcements to be made. So stay here, stay tuned, because it's going to be a good show today. So let me just share this on social media, like I said. Give me a second, and then I'm going to make the proper announcements. Okay. Let's see. Sorry about that, guys, because this is important. That way we can get to more people and share this positive message of, the martial arts. So let's see. I got to say that we have a good thing going on this month. I just had a conversation with Denise Pullman and Mrs. Barbara White of the Kempo Women's Symposium. Okay, and they're going to be here. I'm going to interview them for Coffee and Martial Arts on December 17th, Saturday, and we're going to have a thing going on every month. So we're going to have a bunch of amazing Kempo women on the show. Yes, and we're going to do the symposium dynamics that they have. Not this month is going to be more the interview, and they're going to share what they do. This is a very important thing they're doing for the Kempo community, for women, to highlight women, and for the art, just the art, because we need more women in martial arts. And we're going to talk about that as well a little bit today because of our guests, and you know me, guys, I really enjoy having different type of people in the show, not just high ranks, not just, tough hombres. I just like to have anybody who wants to be here and share their story and what they're doing for the community, whatever things that they're doing, that it's positive, it's worth highlighting, and it's here on the show. So that being said, we're going to have that thing going on starting December 17th, so you can't miss it. The Kempo Women's Symposium has created an alliance with Coffee and Martial Arts, so I'm very honored and I feel very privileged, and I'm always honored to be able to serve the community, and especially if it's this amazing people that are doing amazing thing for the arts. Well, that makes it super cool. So don't miss it, guys. Also, this Saturday, we're going to have our Teachings of a Kempo Master session with the man, Grandmaster Larry Tatum. So don't miss it. It's going to be good. This Saturday at 5 p.m. Arizona time. I think it's 7 p.m. Eastern time and 4 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. So, and also that's going to be good. So don't miss it. That's going to be, of course, in English, and I'm going to be translating into Spanish. So just be patient with the translation and stuff, but it's going to be good. You get to ask questions to the man. And we're going to be talking about what we did in the masterclass last month, which was amazing. The first international masterclass online that we did with Grandmaster Larry Tatum. That was amazing. So, okay, I hope I'm doing this good. Okay, so may I remind you that we are going live through our Facebook page, Master Frank Soto. So please like and follow us there. Follow that, it really helps. We're also going live through our YouTube channel, the Kinetic Dragon channel at Frank Soto Kinetica. Okay, you can't miss it. And we're also going live through the Internacional with a C Hall of Fame, because it's in Espanol, of Argentina. Amazing group of martial artists led by my friend Maestro Juan Martín Álvarez. Saludos, maestros, and salute to all the people involved in this. Okay, so don't forget to like and share this video, okay? Follow us, subscribe. If you're on YouTube, click on the little bell so you get notified every time we go live. And please leave a comment or ask a question. This show is for you guys. Okay, so let's bring in the lady of the hour. Filipino martial arts expert and Taekwondo practitioner, also instructor and expert, my good friend Guro Kathrin Sumpter. Hello, Guro.
Hola, Master Frank. How are you? What's up? Hey, that sounds pretty cool about the women's symposium.
Yeah. We had a nice conversation this week on Zoom, and they share their ideas and they want to support the show because we've been interviewing different Kempo women in the show, and it's not enough. We want more. We want more women involved in the martial arts. You can share your point of view about this. What do you think of women in the martial arts?
And that's what I've seen too. I've seen men be fully supportive about having their sisters and their wives and their daughters participate in martial arts. And that's what I've seen throughout the last 30 plus years in my career. But yeah, I think at some point women make different choices and they go off and they have families and they kind of quit. And so you don't see very many people maybe in my age group that have a school or that are participating at that consistent level. So it's really exciting to hear that these women are doing this. I'm excited. I'm going to tune in. That's December 17th.
Yes. Yeah. Saturday.
Yeah.
And also, I got to say this because I'm a father and I have a daughter. Well, I'm now a grandfather, but still, when my daughter was younger, when she was a kid going through elementary school and all that, I remember she's a very beautiful girl, and she got, how should I put it? She developed as a lady too young. She was like 10 or 11 when her period started and all that. So she got the attention of the boys, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, do you have to talk about that on your show?
Yeah, it's important. I hope my daughter is not listening because she will kill me. But anyway, this is important because she started to get the wrong type of attention, and kids starting, there were some cases of kids touching her in the school area, and she had to defend herself, right? And she was trained. So she had to hit a couple of kids. And every time she defended herself, they call me into school and they will try to lecture me about her fighting. So that's why I was bringing this up, because we're going to talk about fighting, right? So she had to fight and defend herself. It was important. She was being, harassed by the kids. And then they will call me and say, well, it's so bad that she fights. And I'm like, look, she needs to defend herself. She's being attacked in your school. This is a problem of the school. You're not providing security. And then you're telling me that my kid doesn't have the right to defend herself. And she's the one who's the victim here. And what I'm trying to say is it's a cultural thing right now. I guess it's a generational thing or a cultural, I'm not sure, where people think that, we shouldn't fight, right? And then there's a big difference between fighting and defending yourself. And I believe in both, of course, but we have this issue right now with society where, especially, you see it more here. I'm talking about my environment, right? With women, they're not allowed to fight. They're not allowed to defend themselves because they have to be girly, or they have to be, have their role in society, whatever wrong idea they have in their heads, because I don't believe in that for a second. That's something that I had to deal as a father. But of course, when I went into the school and they started telling me this, well, I will destroy them, so to speak, with arguments, because, well, I know what I'm talking about.
May I ask what the upshot was?
Meaning?
May I ask what happened with that when you went in and defended your position? What was the outcome?
They started some. I mean, they even said, threatened to suspend her for several days because she defended herself. And so I said, look, first of all, she has the right to defend herself as a civilian, as an individual, and as a human, right? She has that right. And I said, second, you school supposed to provide security and you're not providing it. So if you continue this way, I'm going to sue you for not providing security for my kids in your school, what I'm paying, because it was a paid school,
I
right?
see.
It was a private school. It wasn't just a government. I mean,
Public school.
not
Yeah.
a public school. So I was paying. It was private school, and then I said, she is trained to defend herself because that's what I do, and she's going to continue to defend herself. And if you don't provide security for your kids, and you call me, you're going to get me here angry, and I'm going to destroy you the pride way, not the bad way. I'm going to sue you, and I'm going to take action, and I'm going to file a report on the police because what you're doing here is wrong, and then you're blaming it on the kid. So of course they ended up apologizing. No, please don't do that. I'm like, this conversation shouldn't be happening. And then you're attacking my kid after she was the victim. And what are you doing to the other kid? Right? No, well, the kid was the one that got hit. Why? Why did he get hit? What did the kid do? Are you addressing this problem? Are you talking to them about, violence and sexuality? Is this correct? I mean, what's going on here, right? And then they will back off. And this happened to me several times.
I wonder if any real substantial changes were made on their end. I mean, for a private school, maybe they had more of a capacity to make changes. And I often tend to think too that if you have these complaints, for lack of a better word, that there are other parents. There's throngs of parents out there that are right behind you at that school that would likely agree. I tend to think that. But I know here at the public schools, I don't know what they do at private schools. I think they have a little bit more autonomy, maybe. But at the public schools, both children get suspended or suspended. Yeah, both children. It's crazy. Yeah, you're not allowed to protect yourself.
I mean, we need to empower people, right?
Yeah.
Men and women, right? And make them responsible, for sure. I'm not saying that you should become a perpetrator, right? Become a wolf and be the one doing the damage. Not at all. But you shouldn't allow anybody to disrespect you or,
lay hands on you.
Yeah. I mean, what the hell? Because you're not supposed to fight, because you're not supposed to do anything. And actually, what I taught my kids was, if a kid is bothering you, go tell your teacher. Okay. If the teacher doesn't do anything, go tell the director, the principal, whomever is in the chain of command, so to speak, right? Whoever is in that order. And they did. That's the thing. They did. And a lot of the times, teachers didn't do anything because they don't know how to handle it. That's the thing. They don't know how to handle these situations, right? So they tend to look away or nothing happens until it does. And that's the thing about society here. Here in where I'm at, we still have this society where male or men, the male in the family or men play one role and females play another role. We still have those roles.
More traditional.
Yes, we still do. I mean, it's a small city with a very traditional approach to education. And I mean, I'm not going to criticize the way they educate their kids, but not allowing kids or anybody to defend themselves, it's wrong. Because we're not in a society where people don't disrespect each other or don't do bad things. We still have crime, we still have disrespect, we still have bad behavior that we need to deal with it, whether it's verbally and sometimes it's physically. So to be empowered and to have that confidence that you can deal with conflict It's so important, and you do it by the rules, right? I mean, there are laws and there are rules that you need to follow, and that's okay with me. But to take away that, um, it's wrong, and that's why I believe this is the reason behind me empowering not just men but women. For me, it's very important because of my daughter, my wife, and the women. I mean, I see my daughter's friends, for example, right? They're not so lucky to have a father like myself teaching them how to defend themselves and stand up for themselves. And sometimes the amount of crap they need to put up with, it's unhealthy to say the least, you know. So I'm sorry, I just went off on a
No,
tangent
no.
here.
Well, I think what you're talking about is so important and it's universal. And when I think about your daughter at that age, it wasn't just the boys picking on her, by the way. It was the girls too,
Of
right? I
course,
mean,
of
girls
course.
can be pretty brutal. So, yeah,
Of course,
especially if she's pretty,
she is.
that's a problem, right? I
Yeah,
mean, yeah,
it shouldn't be. It
no, it
shouldn't be,
shouldn't be.
but it
No,
is. It is
right.
still. I mean, and that's just. Uh, I mean, if we cannot change society, I mean, it would be nice to be able. We want to get there, but that's not going to happen. Immediately. It's going to take us some years, right? Uh, at least we can give our kids and or the people around us the tools to deal with this in an assertive way, right? I'm not saying you should become violent or anything like that. No, but if you teach them how to, make their rights uh, um, be worth something, right? To stand up for themselves, to defend themselves, and when they do, the same institution attacks them. That's,
Right.
I mean, what are you teaching? What's the point of this? What's so I believe, and I've been saying this for many years. We do have advanced a lot when it comes in terms of sexuality. I believe so. I mean, we have more psychologists and more people paying a lot of attention to sexuality. We have, I think, I mean, I'm not saying we're there yet, but we have invested more than with violence. I think violence is still more a taboo than sexuality itself. And those are the two basic instincts of humans, right? Uh,
Right, right. Yeah, we have talked about that.
yes.
Right.
So I think what martial arts studios like or dojos like the one you have do, it's a lot has a lot to do with this part of helping the community with understanding violence, learning how to deal with it internally and externally, right? And becoming more assertive and learning how to deal with conflict, because we humans, we tend to conflict. That's what we do. We like getting into arguments. We don't respect people around us unless we are very well educated. But basically, I mean, I can tell about my experience. I opened the big door of my garage, and there's a car parked in front of my driveway, and I cannot leave because, well, there was no parking space around it, and I didn't want to walk a block, so I had to park here. And I'm like, dude, I need, what if there's an emergency, right? And then they will say, "Oh, I'm sorry, it was just a little bit," and the car has been there for an hour. I'm like, why are we having this conversation? Why? Why? You just, if you need to walk one block, please do so. I mean, so we still don't know how to behave, with the other people. So
Well, yeah, and that utopia doesn't exist, right? So,
so we
but
need
I
to
guess
learn.
also the part about like changing society, I don't know. I think you change your own microcosm, your family, and
Definitely,
that's how you change it.
that's
I'm
how
not
it
about to,
begins.
right, right. I'm not about to tell anybody else what to do. Um, but yeah, I got to hand it to you, because the schools, they don't protect your kids, and that's really not their job. Um, yeah, we gotta protect ourselves, and we've got to teach our kids how to. Oh
It's
boy, I don't know if I'm going to get into trouble for saying it's not the school's job to protect our kids.
it
I
is
guess I
their
don't feel.
job to have a safe environment, though.
Yeah, that's
It
fair.
is part of the job. They
That's
have to
fair.
have a safe environment. Otherwise, where are you sending your kids to?
Right.
They have to have a safe environment. I mean, basic stuff. I'm not saying they have, guards or people. I mean, just a safe environment and
That's
deal with the
fair.
problems. If you deal with the problem, I mean, in a school, you know which kid tends to violence since day one. I mean, it's very obvious. You just need to pay attention to behavior, and then
Yeah.
you do prevention. I'm not saying they should, uh, learn how to fight and stuff. No, 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 no. Just prevention, right? Safe and then, of course, there are going to be accidents and there are going to be conflict and stuff. Yes, you are as an individual and as a parent, you are aware of that, and you are willing to accept some type of conflict, right? Some percentage. But if the conflict uh, arises, and then the institution goes against your kid as well for defending themselves, then what the hell, right?
That's a
And and
problem.
and I think it has to do with understanding. It has to do with culture, and has to do with education. So we really need to educate people in, you know, values, right? Very basic stuff. Respect each other and make it a behavior. Um, you know, learn to defend yourself, because that way you can stand up to the problem and say, look, here, this is as far as you go. You don't have to get in a fist fight, but you can say stop and have that confidence that you can back it up. Otherwise, the feeling of helplessness under somebody who is aggressive, it's not a good feeling.
I think
So
also, I think also, at least in my observation, when you know how to protect yourself, people tend to leave you alone. It's the way you carry yourself.
yes, yes,
At least that's what I saw with my son when he was in middle school and also in high school too. He had a few friends. He wasn't the most popular kid, but he was a martial artist, and he was the kid. I gotta hand it to him. He was the one who would break up fights, you know, and people left him alone. They didn't, and it wasn't because he was wearing his swim martial arts T-shirt. It's because he knew how to carry himself.
because of the confidence, yes, behind
Yeah.
it. And that's
Hmm.
why, going back to women, that's why I believe women, as well as men, should train more, see martial arts as an option. Because, going back to where I live, when you see little kids, if they're girls, well, you need to get dance lessons, not martial arts. You go into dancing school, right? Because it's the proper thing to do. I mean, sure, some girls will go to martial arts, but mostly they follow, what society says.
That
And
traditional kind of.
yeah, so you go learn how to dance, and you take, I don't know, English classes here, right, or whatever. And no, 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 girls don't fight. We still hear that here. Girls don't fight.
Mhm.
What do you mean, girls don't fight? Right?
Girls are mean. They're mean as snakes.
They're,
Girls are devious.
they're humans. I mean, we all have that in us. It's not a gendered thing, right?
Well, I think guys have it, or at least boys, they just have a different approach. I think girls are a much more maniacal, at least in that age group, right?
Yeah, yeah, I got to agree. Yeah, it's a problem. Yeah, I mean, my boy, when he was in middle school, he was a victim of girls, and it was bad. I mean, I think it was probably worse than my daughter being the victims of boys. And that was something. I was like, wow, I didn't expect that. I tell
There's
you, I
a
didn't.
I don't know if you watch Seinfeld. Do you ever watch Seinfeld? There's a great line in there, and
Of course.
I don't remember exactly, but I'll paraphrase it. They're at the coffee shop, and George and Jerry are talking about when they were in high school, and the boys would beat each other up. And then they asked Elaine, how about the girls? And she says, oh no, we would just tease somebody until they developed an eating disorder. And that sounds about right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Girls are evil. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Except for the girls in my school. They're good. They're good girls.
Of course. Of course. Nice. Nice. Well, I think that's why martial arts are truly important, um, and have a big part or a big role in society, because we can teach people how to deal with conflict, how to deal with the inner conflict as well, right? Your inner aggression or inner violence, those emotions, they will rise because it's part of humanity. And how to deal with that, how to control yourself, how to be assertive when you're mad, because we all get mad at one point, right? uh, and how to defend, not just defend yourself, not attacking the other person, right? And if
Right.
you're going to defend yourself, know how to defend yourself, know when to stop, right? All of those things, they're not easy tasks, because you're on a primal fight or flight mode when that happens, and controlling that is not easy. You need training, you really do. So that's why I believe so much in the martial arts, and I think they're fantastic, and because I don't see any other tool that teaches that. Uh, and if you go into neuroscience, now they tell you in psychology, they tell you that in the first years, uh, let's say up to 10 years of age, when you have a kid, the first thing you need to be careful with is their exposure to violence, not the sexual part. First they develop the violent side, and
Wow.
then comes sexuality. Sexuality comes in puberty, when they're teenagers and that age, because of hormones and all that. So the first thing you need to be careful with is how they learn to deal, and how you expose your kids to violence. That's why you need to be so careful with video games, for example.
You're reading my mind.
Yeah, and
Right.
and social media. uh,
Mm-hmm.
so if you are, as a parent, if you are aware and you are monitoring your kids and how they are exposed to violence, you don't take them to violent movies or let them see violent video games and stuff like that, then you can have a healthy relationship and upbringing when it comes to violence. And those are in the first years. Why? Because in the first years, you're developing your personality and you are developing your ego, which is a survival tool. And violence, it's first in survival. Okay. First, you need to protect yourself. Then you need to um, uh, perpetrate
Procreate.
yourself. Perpetrate yourself through,
Procreate.
yeah, procreate. Thank you. Right. So first you defend yourself, you protect yourself, then you procreate. So first, violence is more important for the individual. So in the first 10 years, you learn your everything you see in violence, everything you see about aggression, violence, all of anger, all of that, it will develop your um, social skills when it comes to surviving and dealing with other people's conflict as well. That's why it's so important in the early years. And that's why, for example, that's one of the reasons why now I teach kids again in martial arts. Because if you really want to make a difference with the individual when it comes to violence, you teach them martial arts since they're 5 or 6 years old, because that's when they're going to learn the most out of you as a sensei, as an instructor. That's when you can influence them the most. There, and again, in their early years as teenagers, because when you're going through puberty, mentally wise or psychology wise, you repeat the cycle of your childhood. You just do it faster.
Interesting.
This is studied by psychology.
Interesting.
So that's why those windows are very important. Even though in puberty, sexuality is more important, you still have to deal with the aggressive side, or the aggressive instinct of the individual. So the rest, when we are dealing with adults, I mean, of course, it's gratifying to teach adults, but the personality is already developed. You're not going to influence them that much unless they really, really want to. They really, really want to change. And then, of course, you can make a difference. But in adults, usually what you do is you give them tools.
Yes. Oh, I see. Right. There is, boy, that is a distinction, isn't it? Yeah.
So if you want to educate an individual, and you want to make a positive impact when it comes to dealing with violence and conflict, it's better if you do it when they're younger. Of course, that makes you way more responsible, right? You have a big responsibility there with kids, because whatever it is that you teach them, it will make a difference in their life from then on. So you really need to know, if you're going to teach kids, you really need to know what you're doing.
Yeah, this whole time when you've been talking about the kids and the teens, and those are the first 3 classes that I teach here at the school in the Taekwondo program. I love those age groups. It's just great. Yeah, and just learning how to move on purpose, with purpose, doing your ki, letting your voice out at particular times. It's a pretty narrow path at the beginning. Like, this is what you're supposed to do. And even for the little ones, just putting your hands behind your back and bowing in when you're supposed to, and doing the things that you're supposed to do. Yeah, it's great though. It's funny.
Good. We have people saying hello. Let me bring some of the comments. Patricio Quijike, Os Sensei, Os. Luis Navarro, present here. Maestro, saludos. Scorch 1028, here in North America, I think it's more acceptable for females to use force against males in self-defense than it is for females to use force against other females in self-defense. Interesting. Thank you for your comment, sir. Francisco Martinez, hello, Mr. Frank and Guro Kathrin. Full salute for both of you from Los Altos, California.
Los Altos.
Thank you, my friend.
That's my hometown.
Nice. Maestro Bagelis Drosso, salud. Hello, Master Frank. Hello, sir. Salud. Thank you. Johnny Restovic Carmona, saludos from Kempo, Vitacura, Santiago, Chile.
Wow.
Thank you. Saludos. CWCSO Wenchun, Grandmaster Fabio Bevilacqua. Hello, Master Frank and Guro Kathrin. Congratulations and regards. See you next week. See you next week, sir. Today we're going to advertise your the next week interview. We're going to have Maestro Fabio Bevilacqua all the way from Tenerife, Spain. Is going to be here on our show.
So cool.
Thank you, sir. Sifu Ernesto Colbrenner. Saludos, maestros. Hug from the heart. Gracias. Francisco Martinez says, excellent subject of today's subject. Sorry, maestro. Gracias. Saludos. Jorge Mesa, saludos, maestro. Present here in Hermosillo. Saludos.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Gracias. Saludos. So, yes, sorry, I got a little bit excited and I talked too much today. So please.
No, not at all. And I guess the difference is, you have your daughter. I've never raised a daughter. I raised my son, so I don't know what it's like in that. I don't know what it's like for a parent in that age group. The closest I can get are some of the girls that I deal with here at the school, and they're just terrific. And there's a few of them I've seen monumental changes in their affect and the way they carry themselves. And it's so great. I was just talking to one of the fathers about it the other day. Oh no, maybe it was just yesterday. Boy, time's getting away from me, but we did some sparring yesterday. And this young lady, when she first came to the class, she didn't want to, she didn't want to engage. She didn't want to even really put on the gear and the mouth guard. And but oh, you should see her now after a few sparring sessions and after being at the school for a few months now. Wow, she is a force to contend with. It's hard to believe the way she's coming out of her shell, and she's turning into quite a good fighter too. You know, she's got those long arms and those long legs, and
Amazing.
one of the things that I really think is important for the women too is to be technically correct. You know, it's important for all of us to be technically correct, but I think you know, our counterparts, the men, they can get away with bad form when they're dealing with a woman because they've got the speed, the strength, the height, the upper body strength. They can get away with bad technique. Happens all the time in my stick fighting class because I'm mostly dealing with adults and it's mostly men.
Right.
And I think you and I have talked about this
Yes.
many times, really. You know, we'll be working on disarms or joint locks or whatever it happens to be. And they can use bad form to disarm me. It's like, hey, congratulations. You know, you disarmed me, big deal. You know, it doesn't take much. You know, I'm a lot smaller and weaker, and you know they can just get away with. And I have to correct them. I have to do them the favor because it's not going to work on somebody of their own gender and size. Whatever they tried on me isn't going to work on another man. So.
Nice. We have another comment here. Let's see. Mega Mouth Spike says what Guro Sumpter was speaking about earlier are public schools' zero tolerance policies with regards to fighting, regardless of who the aggressor is.
That is great. Thank you. Yeah, the zero tolerance policy. Oh my gosh, they come up with all these catchphrases. He's right. That's what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, if I may, I think that happens when you have somebody making a decision who doesn't understand conflict or violence. You know, if you don't understand conflict or violence, then you come up with stupid things like this because
it is stupid. They're stupid.
Yeah, it's just ignorant decisions based on fear and you know, on ignorance. Basically, I'm trying to look for another word, and it's based on stupidity. I was going to say, but I'm not trying to be not. Yeah, this
ignorance was good.
This subject really gets to me, touches me. So,
well, I think that I've talked to so many parents at the public school with this zero tolerance. Perfect. Thank you for giving me that phrase. The viewer gave me that phrase. Yeah, the zero tolerance policy. I still have parents that will tell their children that you defend yourself, and we'll deal with whatever consequences later. You know.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying that violence it's the answer, but not defending yourself, it's way worse than standing up and saying stop, you know, and try to do something, because it's not just you being the victim, it's also you feeling helplessness or feeling helpless, and the guilt that you're going to get from not defending yourself.
And you're absolutely, that's great.
And you're gonna and you're gonna take that to the next level, because then you're gonna torture yourself with that. I should have done better.
And you and I have talked about this before. That's who you become. You know, there's and we talked a little bit about it, and I don't want to butcher it, but it's something about the coding new proteins in your brain. You code for different proteins. Right. Neurologically.
Yes.
And when you don't defend yourself, that's really who you become.
Agree.
And
Totally.
then now you're a target, because the bad guys, regardless of how old they are, they can spot a victim, right? You can spot somebody who
And not
won't defend themselves.
and not just a target, you become a magnet for that type of behavior.
Oh, perfect, right.
Yes, a magnetic target, because all the potential perpetrator out there, all the potential bad guys, they will look at you and say, "Woo, definitely, yes, let me
Yeah,
get a
this
piece of
person
that."
is not, yeah, this person is not going to fight back. I know that when I do women's clinics, like the self-defense clinics, that's the first thing I say to them practically is congratulations for being here. Because 98% of women don't have 1 minute of self-defense training in their whole lives. So just by you being here, you're way ahead of the game, way ahead of the game. And the bad guys, they know how to spot you. And if you're the one who says stop, they don't want that. They want an easy target. So instead of you, they're going to go to the next person,
Yeah,
right?
why deal with a hard one if I
Yeah,
can deal with an easy one?
that's right. Why deal with somebody who's going to give them trouble, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, it's
true.
not a rule, but yes, it usually works that way.
Hmm.
Uh, let's see. Scorch 1028 says, "I am proud to say I taught my 7-year-old niece how to parry her 3-year-old sister's slaps and punches instead of striking her back." Good. As we say in martial arts, the soft upper becomes the hard. Good. And you're also talking about the sister, right? The younger sister. Of course, you don't want to hurt the younger sister. I mean, come on. There are ways, but also it's a good thing she's sparing the slaps and the punches off. She shouldn't take it either.
I
So,
love that.
but still, there. I'm sorry to say, my friend, but there I see uh, the problem is not the kids. It's and this is gonna sound harsh, but this is the truth, right? You know, uh, the dog whisperer, Cesar Milan. Have you heard of him? Remember him, right?
Of course, big
He
deal
always
here in the
he
United
always
States.
said the problem is not the dog, the problem is the human. Okay, here the problem are not the kids, the problem is the parents and the environment. Okay, because a 7-year-old girl shouldn't be dealing with punches and slaps from her 3-year-old sister. That's a
Well,
problem there in the family.
3-year-olds, and you kind of alluded to it earlier too. And 3-year-olds are terribly violent. They're
Yeah, but
terribly violent little creatures, and you're right. It has to be channeled and managed and all that stuff. But it's
yeah,
definitely a
that's what I'm saying. The
common
pro-
phase on the path of life.
yeah, the problem should be addressed. That's all. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that that girl is a bad girl. No, no, that's probably a regular, or an often behavior that you see in a kid.
Oh,
But
right.
but you know, parents should be on top of that, and that's why if the parents are not on top of that, maybe they should learn some martial arts as well to learn how to deal with that. That's what I'm saying. I'm not putting the
Oh, no, no,
blame.
no, no. I know.
I'm not
Yeah.
putting the blame on the parents either. I'm just saying we are not educated as a community and a society to deal with conflict. We
Mhm.
deal with it the best way we can because it's still in a lot of societies, violence, it's still a taboo subject. That's the problem. That is the main problem. That's why I'm saying we need more of this education. We need more martial arts in schools.
Oh,
Uh,
I love that.
I mean, the way I see it, I believe I know any martial art should be a part of course, I would say Kempo, but that's because what I do. But any martial art should be a part of the school program. Uh,
Oh, I would love that. I would love that's a testimonial here to charter schools. I don't know if that comes up in Mexico, but here a lot of parents want to see charter schools where your tax dollars follow the child, and you have competition when it comes to schools. So it's not just public schools and private schools. You have these pop-up charter schools. And can't you just imagine a charter school saying, hey, at our school, we teach martial arts? I mean, maybe you would choose that school.
that would be amazing. That would
It
be
would be
amazing.
great. I
Okay, we have
couldn't
a
agree
couple.
more.
a couple more comments. A follower says, hi from Mexico City, Master Soto and Catherine. Hello, follower. Hey, follower. Hello. Ricardo Contreras, saludos, Master from Lima, Peru.
Wow.
Saludos, gracias. So yes, I think, the message also, when you tell a kid, you shouldn't fight, right? No fighting. There's no fighting allowed. You're not allowed to fight. You need to understand that when the brains and the mind accepts that, and it becomes a belief and it becomes a paradigm, it's not, you didn't tell them no fist fighting or no physical fighting. You just said no fighting. So you're not going to fight for a job. You're not going to fight for a better position at school. You're not going to fight for your loved one, right? And you're not going to fight because that's embedded in your brain.
Wow.
So
Very
deep,
good.
right? It became a belief. So you are teaching your young one to become it's learned helplessness. That's what it is.
Wow. Good one. Good one, Master Frank. Very good. Very good.
I mean, if you say no fist fighting, okay, at least make it more specific, right? Or look, avoid fighting as much as you can, right? But there are some times that you're going to have to fight. You're going to have to stand up for yourself, right? Stand tall and say enough.
Message. Yes, that's the message. There are going to be times, and you have to be able to discern those times. That's fantastic.
It can be.
I guess I see it a lot. Yesterday we did a lot of fighting yesterday, and I have these two boys, and they're about in that 10, 11 age group. Boy, they're just hungry to scrap with each other. And what makes it so cool is that there's protective gear, and there's rules of engagement, and there's timed rounds or points. And these two boys, they opted for rounds. So I let them go for 3 1-minute rounds. And the parents showed up, and it was just great. It was great. And we know how things can change on a dime. No matter how much you tell your students, hey, we're all partners, let's take care of each other. Of course I'm doing that. But when you're in the ring and maybe somebody goes a little bit too hard, maybe you'd like to answer back pretty quickly. And there was some of that going on, but I let it go. I didn't call break. It didn't cross that threshold that I've seen many times. And these boys just loved it. They were in control. They did a good job. One of the things that I was able to coach them while they were fighting, keep your hands up, gauge your distance, all those things. And they were taking it in as they were going. And at some point I did say, I need to see real martial arts out there. I don't want to just see a bunch of haymakers and martial and scrapping. It's not like that. I need to see real techniques for any of this to count, whatever that means. And for the most part, they sure did. For the most part, and they're one of them is on the threshold of gold belt. The other one's a gold belt. So they're at the beginning of their careers, but they did really well. I mean, they know. They have an instinct, and they know. And there were some punches thrown, and they felt it, but nobody got hurt, and it was good. It's all good. And they shook hands and hugged it out. It was great. That's what you want to see.
Of course. And learning how to fight, also, you need to learn how to take the punches, right? How to take the punches also in life. I will take this as far as to say, for example, I'm not a fighter, I'm a lover, right? That's the catchphrases that we use.
The lover and the fighter, yeah. I don't know if people know that these days.
Well, let's say you get cancer, or like myself, I have diabetes, and I'm not a fighter, so I'm not going to fight diabetes. What's going to happen to me if I don't fight the disease? How do I fight diabetes? By being disciplined, by not eating the stuff that I shouldn't be eating, by taking my medication, by going to the doctor, because I am disciplined, because I am a fighter. I'm going to fight this. I'm not going to let myself go because I'm a lover. And I love you, diabetes, so I still love sugar. I'm going to keep on eating crap, and then I'm going to die. So, you know, it's funny because people don't realize the connection. For example, I see a lot of people who are lovers, not fighters, that, you know, some of them get some type of like cancer, and then, oh, I survived cancer because I fought cancer. Good. Good for you, right? Because there you go. You need to fight. Okay. And I'm not saying this that you should get this. No, I'm just saying that sometimes you need to fight for your life. You need to fight some powerful enemy like cancer. I mean, that's a powerful enemy, right? Or COVID. We just got COVID, the problem with the virus and all that stuff, and you need to, right, and you need to take care of yourself, and you need to fight this thing because it can kill you. I mean,
Right.
I mean, so a fighting skill, it's a very important survival skill that we need. We need to become fighters. Not all the time, right? And it shouldn't be an issue that, oh, that's going to make me aggressive, that's going to make me violent. No, it's not. It's not. It's actually, it's going to make you less aggressive and less violent, right? That's the paradox there. By learning how to channel your violence, learning how to channel your anger, and learning how to deal with it, then you can control it, and you become way less violent and aggressive.
And it takes practice. It does. It takes practice.
So what you did with those kids, that's amazing. Amazing. I mean, you provided a safe environment that they can explore that primal instinct, right? And they can let go all of that steam, right? Because they're definitely fighters, because they want to fight, right? So put it in a positive environment, and then at the end they hug each other.
They're friends.
Yeah,
Yes.
they still,
What a
and
thing.
actually I can tell you they're going to become even they're going to develop a stronger friendship because of that, because now they shared a hard or a conflict or a hard time, and they conquered together. So
there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. And I don't know of anything else like that. I remember doing an article after the Philippines for the Taekwondo Times, and I posted pictures of everybody in our group doing forms at the competition and fighting. And so, of course, I needed to post a picture of myself and the great master Andrea Wheatley, the 7-time world champion. And I had to fight this lady. And I was like, oh my gosh. And she's younger, stronger, faster, everything. She's the world champion, you know. And it was just great. You know, I feel like I held my own. Of course, she won. She kicked my butt, but I held my own. I feel like I did okay. And so I posted a picture of us fighting, and then underneath another picture of us hugging it out. And the caption I wrote said, "Fighting makes fast friends." And it's true. I mean, I feel like I could, I mean, she's in Australia, but I feel like I could contact her anytime with anything, and just reach out to her because we shared that experience. Isn't that odd?
Well,
and we were both trying to win. We both really wanted to win. You know, it didn't have anything to do with that. It was just it was quite a thing. And one of my favorite, it was definitely my favorite part of the competition too.
Nice.
Yeah, it was great.
That's something. We have another comment here. Scorch 1028 says, one of the greatest skills I have learned in the martial arts is how to humanly defend myself from a much weaker opponent. I have exhausted less skilled opponents doing minimal harm. Nice. Nice.
Wow.
Good for you, my friend.
Amazing.
Nice. Very nice. And that's important too, right? Learning how to deal with, you know, somebody who's not as strong, but is still violent, and you don't have to, you know, hurt the person.
Right. Maybe just put them in their place.
That's a good skill. I believe so.
Hmm.
Well, yeah. I mean, and those experiences like the one you mentioned it, when you fight another person and you share that, it really creates a bond. It really does. I believe so too. I mean, I know so. I have experienced it as well with my um, fellow practitioners when we were back at the Larry Tatum School back in the '90s. I mean, I studied with them back in the late '90s, second half of the '90s, and we became friends for several years. And then some of them I haven't seen in 20 something years. And if I say hello on Facebook, it's like we just saw each other like last week. Hey, how you doing, my friend? Blah blah blah. We have that uh, you know, uh,
Rapport.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like you said, that what's the word I'm looking for? Um, Connection. We have that thing that we shared. We shared blood and sweat, basically. Fighting and that, right? And it generates such a great bond and
I
such a
got
good.
to tell you, on your show, I've seen countless of your guests and fans weighing in, and I'm telling you, it seems to happen more often when you'll have a guest on, and then somebody will weigh in and say, "Oh, I remember when you kicked my butt in this and that," and it's all good. Nobody's upset. It's all good. Oh, I remember that roundhouse kick to the face that I took from you, or whatever,
Right. Yeah.
whatever it was. Yeah.
And Mr. Tatum was saying when he was here last month, he said, we provide a safe environment in a studio or a dojo. We provide a safe environment where the person can be themselves, explore breaking the rules, explore their primal self, you know, go into this, uh, aggressive or violent side, explore it and deal with it, learn how to deal with it, and then just go back into society. And because in society you have rules and you have to behave in a certain way. Otherwise, well, you will have a problem, right? Even though some people don't follow the rules very, very well, we still have some rules, right? So in the studio or the dojo, you can explore that part of yourself in a very safe environment and then learn from that experience, gain a lot from it, and then take it out to the world, to society, to your community in a much more assertive way. And that makes you a better person for sure.
It makes you a safe harbor in some ways.
Yes, I like
And,
that.
and whenever I think about Jordan Peterson referencing, you know how much I like Jordan Peterson,
Of course.
but and he refers to that side that you're talking about, the dragon, and you better acknowledge that dragon because it's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger, and you better deal with it before it just takes over,
Oh, yeah.
and you can, like you said, explore that side of human nature,
Right. Right.
right?
Well, this was great. It's been an hour already.
What? There's just, wow.
That was fast. Thank you so much, Guro. I'm
I
sorry I
wanted to
talked too
show
much
you.
today.
I wanted to show you my culotta sticks. There's because we've been doing a lot of stick fighting, and you don't.
Nice.
Anyway, we'll talk about that next time.
Will do. Yes, of course. Well,
Well,
thank
I'm
you so much.
excited to tune in on the 17th. That sounds really cool.
That's going to be amazing. And it's going to
Yeah.
be happening once a month for as well. So very happy. Let's see. We have somebody saying hello here. Fernando Morales, salud from Malaga, Spain. Uh, he said, I cannot follow you because the game's starting Spain against Japan. Ole.
Oh, okay.
Soccer game. Que gane España. Felicidades. Suerte. Que gane el mejor. Ah, okay. So, well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for today. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Master Frank. This was great.
This is always good. And thank you, everybody, for watching this. I hope you had a good time. And see you next time. This Saturday, don't forget, Teachings of a Kempo Master with the man, Grandmaster Larry Tatum, 5 p.m. Arizona time. And let's see, next week, we have Grandmaster Fabio Bevilacqua is going to be here in Coffee and Martial Arts. And then we have on the 17th, Kempo Women's Symposium. It's going to be super cool. Don't miss it. Abrazo. Gracias. Thank you, Guro.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Take care, everybody. See you soon. Bye-bye.